This particular SD40-2 is, like I said, a Canadian manufactured prototype, GMD. This is a Bowser release that's 8 or 9, maybe 10 years old or so. And I've never had it out of the package. The point on this time is to get this out of the package and get it DCC put in it. And as I've turned the locomotive over and placed on a piece of foam here, it is as I suspect. There's coupler pockets. You can see this a little better on camera. If I can get the light in there, there is a screw. Just like practically other just like practically any other HO scale model on the market, diesel model on the market today, with that coupler pocket and screw on either end. And probably I'm going to grab a little needle nose plier, pull those out of there. And that does, in fact, to me, look like a KD coupler. It looks metal. So I'm going to gently rock the shell back and forth and try and pull that off of there. And, interesting. So what we've done here is on the ditch lights. This is really cool. So on the shell, I've never seen this before. What they're doing is for the ditch lights, they're just they've got a printed circuit board down here on the frame. So for the forward ditch lights, we have another printed circuit board and wipers that pick current up from those from that green board down here. So guys, this is the part where the magic actually happens. We're going to perform the actual act of converting from DC to DCC. So I mentioned that there's this jumper plug here that comes with the engine, and this is pretty common across the industry. All we have to do basically is pull this jumper plug out, and basically this is a throwaway item here. This enables the engine to run on DC and have directional lighting and all that stuff and make most of the lighting work under DCC. I have here a SoundTraxx Tsunami 2 decoder. This is one of the 21 pin plug types, and we're going to be plugging this in just like this. We insert it, we line the pins up correctly. I'll zoom in here a little bit so you can see that a little better. And we just fit that down over there. I played a little Dick Tracy here and found a sugar cube, dual sugar cube speaker enclosure. I believe this has the speakers with it. At Midwest Model Railroad. I've bought from these guys in the past, and they support quite a few of the podcasts that I listen to, or at least I hear their names around quite a bit. So I felt comfortable doing that, as well as ordered a rail car for another project that you'll probably see here at some point in the future. So I got that ordered up, and we'll bring you back as soon as I've got that on hand here and ready to put in the engine. So it's a few days later here, you guys, and we got this Bowser speaker enclosure and dual sugar cube speakers with the pre-wired with a receptacle on the end. This came from Midwest Model Railroad. I ordered it on Sunday and have it here on Thursday. Real happy with that, and so we're going to go ahead and put this in. I'm going to grab a hobby knife here to cut the tape, or to remove the tape off of the old box. Just go ahead and lift that up and off. I don't believe we'll need that, but we'll probably keep that around just in case. You see the speaker enclosure will sit right back down there. So I've got that inserted, and then we'll go ahead and set this down on those pins on the frame here. And it just kind of snaps down into place. And there we've done our DCC and speaker installation. And basically what's left at this point is to go over to Decoder Pro and make the adjustments to the decoder and the software, and we're off and running. We've done our installation. All we have to do at this point, really, physically, is set the shell on and put the couplers back on the locomotive. Stick with us. So we've got the chassis with the decoder hooked up to it on the programming track, and we've got JMRI Decoder Pro fired up here, and I did a read type from Decoder, and I ended up coming up with the correct listing here. We'll go ahead and open the comprehensive programmer and see where we can get with that. We're just going to do a few basic things here. And first of all, we will go ahead and read this full sheet just to make sure we get everything correct here before we start writing changes. And I'll kind of step you along. We're just going to do the basic setup here on this decoder. Lights and main address, and probably set some sound. And what I'm going to do here is change over to long address, and I'm going to give the locomotive number 6097, and we're going to make sure NMRA digital only. We don't want any problems related to the speed conversion or the power source conversion between DC and DCC. We're not going to run on DC anyway, so no point in having that turned on. We're set to long address. I'll go ahead and hit write changes on the sheet, and 128 speed steps is fine. We'll go over to the function map and just read that just to see what's there. And I'll scroll down to see if I can follow that, and I can't scroll down with that still reading for whatever reason. JMRI doesn't allow me to do that. We'll go over to the light controls. Hit read sheet on that. We don't really care about ditch lights that much. With this particular unit, we're operating in an era sort of before ditch lights are really there, but I guess as long as they're on there, they might as well work properly. And we must be done reading that sheet. So we'll go ahead and move on. I mainly want to get that that sound. I'm going to read full sheet here. The prime mover select is really what we're after here. The rest of this stuff I can research later. We're back here. So EMD prime mover select. We want the EMD 645 turbo. That's what was in these things. And we'll hit write changes on sheet. That's quick. Sound levels. We'll hit read full sheet on that. And typically I like to turn the master volume back to about half. I've heard it said that if you can hear the engine beyond much more than about a 4-foot radius around it, you're too loud, which I heard that a long time ago, but I think that's still true. Now, really, if you're running an engine, especially your engine on like a club setting, and you can hear it further away from that, really nobody wants to hear the engine that somebody else is running. They want to hear their own. I guess the exception might be with exhibitions. You might want it a little bit louder, but like the operating session type environment, you definitely wanted it quiet down. That being said, there's a few things we can do to mess around with it, making it a bit more real for the sounds that we do hear. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn that master volume down quite a little ways. We'll go out to the layout and see what it looks like. So you guys all saw that we turned the sound down on the decoder, and it's still, I have to yell pretty loud in order to get my voice over the top of the prime mover idling here in the yard in Sioux City. I find it a bit fitting that we're filming this right in front of a Canada cylindrical hopper that I did for a previous video. That's kind of fun. Anyway, just wanted to let you know that this was a successful install. We have quite a bit of work to do yet to this, to the programming, but we are well on our way to having a good engine here to mate with the DM&E 6359 that you saw on in fact, my first YouTube video on this channel here. Go back and check that out. We installed another Tsunami in that one, and I intend to run these up and down the helix on on the Whitewood to Deadwood line for service, interchanging freight in Deadwood with the DM. Stick with us for that, but we'll do a little bit of back and forth motion with the engine here to make sure it is okay, just to give you a feel for the Tsunami's capabilities. And of course we need to do some things with the braking and stuff here, and speed matching obviously with the original decoder. And probably wouldn't hurt to get a keep alive in there in both of them to compensate for dirty track and stuff like that.